those would be some of the requirements for the general contractor when it comes to this program. At this point, I want to ask, does anyone have any questions about the process and how this program would actually work? Good. Let's go on to the questions, if you don't mind. This is what we're going to be looking for in the RFP. Your organizational information. Basically, we're looking for how you operate as a general contractor. Your current GC license, it's a requirement. Describe your organization's management, fiscal oversight, record keeping, reporting, evaluation, and performance management methods. So we want to see how you run your organization as a general contractor. Describe your staff responsible for who's going to be responsible for construction oversight, including qualifications and titles. Describe your experience with this type of work, case or project management software that you're using. Include past program performance on projects that you've done of this scale or larger, and success in initiating, maintaining, and completing construction projects of similar size and scale. Provide a list of proposed or potential subcontractors to implement the repair services that are going to be described in this RFP. Include contractor areas of expertise, specific trade qualifications, service areas, years of experience, licenses held, and minority and women-owned business certifications, if applicable. Any questions? Next slide, please. Your organizational capacity, your capacity as a general contractor to be able to complete these projects. Describe your organization's experience in outreach and marketing to subcontractors. Include details on social media presence and any other ways in which you conduct outreach. Provide customer service capacity, including advertised hours, location, and virtual availability. We want to know whether or not you're available or accessible on the internet. Provide demonstrated ability to collaborate with other service providers when necessary and to provide additional services. Please describe your annual production, including number of jobs, type, costs, and timeline for completion. And this is important, this next bullet point. Describe your ability to service at a minimum 75 plus single family or 1 to 4 unit homes within 1 year. Identify your vendors and describe your ability to source materials for a minimum of 75 construction projects through this program. Describe your experience with the City of Chicago permitting process and your average timeline for permit approval and previous projects. And in detail, any in-house architects and relationships you may have with architects. Any questions? Okay. Next slide, please. This is the next slide, I'm sorry. Please describe your experience completing home repairs or modifications in the areas of roof, porch repair or replacement, lead and mold abatement, accessibility improvements, and other environmental health and safety hazards. Please describe in detail your estimating experience and how you would scope projects if awarded this contract. Please describe your successful experience in the execution of a construction bid and award process. And describe your experience with or ability to subcontract with BIPOC contractors that have appropriate licenses, certifications for work that will be performed. Please describe your ability to complete home repairs or modification programs described in this RFP or manage the performance of subcontractors who do. And please describe your timeline for implementation and when you could be ready to start construction if awarded this contract. Any questions? Next slide, please. Cost and budget. Please detail your budget and demonstrate reasonable implementation costs. Include itemized details and job cost estimates. Please also include details of your financial history and record. Please provide evidence of sources of funds available to you to ensure the ability to front fund work subcontractors perform. Please describe your experience executing or managing construction projects. Include sample pricing and describe how you keep them within budget. Please submit the organization's most recent financial statements and/or federal tax returns to show fiscal capacity. Health and racial equity. Please describe your collaborations or partnerships with local community groups and other entities that support or enhance resources for the targeted population. And please describe your experience with serving vulnerable or marginalized populations, as well as your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion within your own organization. Next slide. That's the end of the questions that you will be evaluated on when you respond to this RFP. Now, any questions? I think Steph may be including those in the chat, or if you have any questions, you can put them into the chat or raise your hand. I think we have one question.
Hello.
Yes.
Is this prevailing wage work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many contractors will be awarded?
Well, we're looking for contractors, GCs, who can do a minimum of 75 jobs. We're also working with delegate agencies who may also be able to complete a certain number, a minimum of 25 jobs. So we could select 2 GCs who can do 75 jobs apiece, or we may select 5 delegate agencies who can do 175 jobs. So it depends on the capacity of your organization and whether or not you can let us know or prove to us that you're able to do a minimum of 75 jobs.
Okay.
This project will enable, or this proposal will enable GCs and subcontractors. You can work both sides of the track. You can work through a delegate agency, or you can also work as work with a GC as a sub. So what we're trying to do here is give everyone an opportunity to work on a lot of different projects through a lot of different organizations in order to build up your capacity to the point where one day you'll be able to bid on 75 jobs. But also, we have a lot of work to do. And we know we have GCs out there with the capacity to do a minimum of 75 jobs. So we also want to provide them with that opportunity as well.
Chris, we had a question in the chat. There were no budget templates provided with the RFP. Is there a particular format that you expect this to be submitted in?
Yes, and there should have been a budget form that we can create and probably send out to you. Or if you have your own form, you should submit that in with your RFP. That was Cortland.
Yep.
Cortland, do you have a form that you usually use for your budgets on projects?
We do. We just wanted to make sure that we were in alignment with whatever you all were expecting to see, or if you all could provide like a template as to the like line item accounts you expect to see, that would be helpful for us to make sure we provide what you're looking for.
Okay, I would say if you have your own budget template that you're using, please provide that and submit that in with the RFP. The next question, it looks like from Billy Cleveland, will there be a budget for the GCs for all projects? The budget for the projects will come after we select the GC to move forward with a contract. So if you are awarded 75 projects, then you will have a budget based on what the average cost has come in for roofs and or porches. And that would be the budget that you would have to work with. So basically, you'll be managing that budget as a GC in order to do the minimum amount of jobs that you've been contracted for. Who are the delegate agencies? Daphne, Ms. Dixon asked the question, who are the delegate agencies a person can go to? Well, delegate agencies are nonprofit entities right now. In order to be a delegate agency, you have to be a nonprofit. And we've got nonprofits that are actually applying right now in track 1 for this program. So I would suggest that you reach out to some of the nonprofits that have attended some of our conference, our pre-bid conference, and see whether or not they're going to be applying or need to build that type of relationship with your organization.
Chris, as a follow-up, could contractors contact for like NHS or Elevate, who are current delegate agencies as well?
Yes, yes. Not sure if they're going to be applying in this next round, but yes, you can contact Neighborhood Housing Services and Elevate at this time if you're looking to partner with a delegate agency. Are there any other questions? We've extended the deadline for this RFP from February 22nd to March the 6th. So we're giving our GCs enough time to gather all their documents, present their plans, and provide a good proposal or submit a good proposal to the city of Chicago. We need GCs who are able and capable of doing this type of work. We don't want you to overestimate your capacity when it comes to finishing some of these jobs. And like I said earlier, we have a lot of jobs to do. So we're going to be looking very closely at some of these proposals that come in to see whether or not we have GCs that are capable of doing the minimum required for this proposal. I see Aaron, do you have your hand up or did you ask your question? Aaron?
I think I just typed up a question in the chat. Yes.
I don't seem to have it. You wanna ask your question, Aaron? I don't see it in the chat.
1 second here. Just wondering the budgets for each project, but I think you already mentioned that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there any other questions about the process, about the RFP itself? Anything pertaining to the questions, the capacity, the information that we're looking for? We hope to get a lot of proposals. We want to try to include as many people as we possibly can, many organizations as we can, which is why we're doing this 2 tracks.
I have a question, Christopher. This is Teresa Winfrey. Will we be working out of a price catalog or no?
Yes, currently, and we're still working through this, we use RS Means as part of our ECM system. So we haven't gotten that down to where we would like it to work, but that's the goal, is to use that price catalog. So as of now, that's the system in which we're working. Would you say that's correct right now, Dan?
Yes, that's correct, Chris. We're particularly using RS Means. So, I mean, unless you guys propose something else in your RFP, you know, if you have any other software you prefer, you could mention that too and kind of give an example of what you produce.
Yeah, pretty much, so we won't be bidding against one another.
Well, you won't be bidding against one another if you have a contract, because you're going to be assigned at a minimum 75 projects. So if you have a group of subcontractors that you're working with, obviously as a GC you should, then you're not really bidding on these jobs. They're your jobs. If you're awarded a contract through this RFP. The question is, can you do 75 jobs within the budget that you want to have? And that's really what it's all about.
Okay, thank you, Christopher.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, who was that?
This is Ken Gibbs, MIKK Construction.
Yes,
Is this, yes, is this all residential work or is this residential and commercial?
It's residential. 1 to 4
Got it.
units.
Right.
Oh, got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
particularly roofs and porches.
And this program is a little bit different from the neighborhood housing service program?
It's the same program.
Oh, it's the same. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Ken, it's the same program, but in this situation, it will be working directly with the contractor.
Exactly. So NHS is actually acting as a delegate agency. Here, you're working directly with the city.
Got it. So if we're doing neighborhood housing service work now, we would still need to respond to this RFP. That's correct?
But you don't have to. I mean, if you have a organization or if you're large enough to do 75 jobs within your company or your organization, you can apply to this program. It doesn't prohibit you from working with NHS, but if you think you can do 75 jobs under your company's name, then that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. Sounds like the program we're looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Mr. Lindor?
Good morning. This is Bellinger. So to be clear, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to be clear, this RFP, once completed and you guys comb through the submittals of the RFP, of the proposals, you guys are looking for a minimum of 2 GCs on this contract?
It could be 2 GCs. It could be 1. But
Okay.
I would say if we have 2 GCs that can do a minimum of 75, then that's probably what we would select.
And my next question is, how long is this contract?
A year.
Okay.
With
Thank
the opportunity to get an extension the next year, depending on how you do.
Okay, thank you.
So you have the whole year to complete the 75 jobs, given, weather issues here in Chicago. So you're probably looking at all the way to like November, maybe. But yeah, you have up to a year to complete the 75.
And the time that the RFP closes to the time a contractor is selected, from that time when you're selected as a contractor for this program, there would be probably a month or 2-month period where you'll be able to ramp up and get your subs in place and go through our training when it comes to our systems and how to submit reimbursement requests. So we'll take you through that whole process once you're selected. So when the contract actually is implemented, you'll be ready to work.
Chris, there was one question in the chat. Will there be funding available for delegate agencies to provide training and TA?
There is a line item in the delegate agency's contract that provides for training and administrative work. So for delegate agencies, we do have that line item that they can tap into for training of their staff or processing paperwork. So that's available for delegate agencies. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, that's correct. I think that question really reflects more on the RFP for the BAs, not necessarily for this one.
Right, correct.
Question, this is, and I'm sorry if I missed this. This is prevailing wage jobs, right? Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Concerns? As I said before, we're looking to hopefully get a lot of proposals. We have 175 jobs to do this year. But down the road, we're looking at 600 to 700 jobs that we're going to have to complete under this program. So this is just a beginning for anyone who's interested in helping us service those families who qualify for roofs and porches. So we're always going to be looking out or on the lookout for good, strong, solid general contractors who are able to do this type of work. We're also going to be at the contractors vendors workshop tomorrow at Malcolm X. So if any of you guys want to stop by our table, if you're there, and hopefully talk about the opportunities. But after this call, all questions should be directed to me, and any question that is asked will go out to the entire group. So we can't speak one-on-one about a particular issue within the RFP. That question has to be asked and answered with everyone involved. So we'll have very limited conversation one-on-one about the RFP. If you do have a question, it needs to be shared and answered with the entire group.
Chris, one more question from the chat. The submission extension to March 6th applies for delegate agencies as well, correct?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, again, if you have any questions, you can submit them to me. Hopefully, we're able to answer all your questions, and if we're not, believe me, we'll get the answers. But I look forward to looking through some of our proposals, and hopefully we'll get a multitude of proposals so we can have some options to work through for this very important program. But if there are no more questions, I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. And this recording, there will be a recording sent out to everyone who attended this pre-bid conference. So thank you again. And if there are no more questions, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris. Thanks, everybody that's on the panel.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
morning.
you.
Bye.